King Basudewa of Mandura has done the unthinkable. He welcomed his deadliest enemy right into his inner circle, even gifting him a royal title. That enemy is a young man originally named Jaka Maruta, later known as Kangsa. He's the illegitimate, super-powered son of an ogre king from the realm of Gwagra, who used shape-shifting magic to deceive and sleep with Basudewa's queen. After growing up in exile and discovering the truth of his monstrous lineage, Kangsa has one clear objective: absolute revenge against King Basudewa and the entire royal family. Look at this map of the fortress. Kangsa didn't lay siege to these heavily guarded outer walls. Instead, he completely bypassed the empire's physical defenses through a masterclass in psychological manipulation. Despite possessing superhuman strength and the backing of his uncle's massive ogre army, Kangsa faced a serious numbers problem. He was up against a vast, deeply entrenched military alliance. To bridge this gap, he turned to an unlikely mentor, King Jarasanda. Jarasanda was another royal outcast, one who had successfully claimed his own throne in Magadha by violently tearing his father apart with his bare hands. But their initial strategy relied entirely on blunt force. When Kangsa and Jarasanda launched a combined assault against Mandura and its allies, they were completely overpowered, crushed, and buried alive in the dirt. They survived, but the lesson was clear. Raw physical dominance is a fatal liability if it blinds you to the structural defenses of a unified kingdom. Sitting defeated in the dirt, Jarasanda realized the limits of muscle. He pivoted his strategy, deciding instead to teach Kangsa the delicate art of deception. The new doctrine was simple: do not attack the walls. Instead, weaponize King Basudewa's internal vulnerabilities, his lingering guilt over the queen's exile, his deep-seated fears, and his fractured family dynamics. This diagram illustrates the two-pronged infiltration Jarasanda designed. Path 1, establish a fabricated lineage. Path 2, manufacture a sudden crisis. Both lead to the king, but the first path must detour. Kangsa needed to target the weakest link, the king's gullible brother, Arya Ugrasena. It doesn't matter how thick a kingdom's walls are if you can convince a guard to open the gates for you from the inside. Phase 1 began with Kangsa intercepting Arya Ugrasena. He used calculated flattery and spun a tragic, fabricated story, claiming to be the king's lost legitimate son, born in the forest. Ugrasena bought it completely, becoming Kangsa's fierce inside advocate. But the rest of the court wasn't so easily fooled. Smarter advisors immediately spotted the lie, reminding King Vasudeva that this boy was almost certainly the byproduct of the Ogre King's ancient deception. Just as Kangsa was about to be rejected and thrown out, Phase 2 initiated. Kangsa's ogre uncle launched a massive, pre-planned attack directly on the Mandura palace. With the court in absolute panic, Kangsa stepped into the chaos. In front of everyone, he engaged his own uncle in rigged combat, easily defeating the hulking beast in seconds. The intruder became the kingdom's savior. This trapped King Basudeva perfectly. He was personally terrified by the raw, brutal power Kangsa just displayed, but he was politically cornered by a public that now viewed this stranger as their sole protector. Ignoring all logic in the frantic warnings of his advisors, Basudeva folded. He formally accepted Kangsa as his son, desperate to appease the immediate threat standing in his throne room. Kangsa executed the perfect political heist, proving that the ultimate way to seize power is to create a deadly problem to which you are the only acceptable solution. The heist was complete. In a matter of days, Kangsa transitioned from a woodland outcast to a powerful, legitimized duke, operating freely inside the very palace he sought to destroy. The tragic irony of King Basudeva is that his historical efforts to hide from divine prophecies and cover up royal scandals are exactly what laid the groundwork for his enemy's success. By manipulating the truth, he left himself entirely vulnerable to someone else's fiction. Now, a lingering existential threat rests comfortably inside the Mandura palace, a monster patiently waiting for the perfect moment to take the throne entirely. But there is one final countermeasure. Years ago, the true heirs to the kingdom, Kakrasana and Narayana, were secretly hidden away in a humble farming village. They are growing in strength, completely off Kangsa's radar. While deception and manufactured crises can steal a throne in the short term, they ultimately only buy time before a